Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's Walk of Fame ceremony. I'm LaRon Gubler, President and CEO of the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, which is presenting today's program. Today we are honoring one of the most successful live event television producers of our time, as he is honored with the 2,541st star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Today Hollywood honors television producer Ken Ehrlich. Let me tell you just a little bit about him. A native of Cleveland Heights, Ohio. There's somebody from Ohio here. Ken Ehrlich has produced network television programs since 1974. He is best known for producing 34 Grammy Award shows, and he is at this time working on number 35. Wow. His 47-year history as a television producer is filled with living examples of how his creative spark and judgment have left viewers with memorable moments on the small screen, whether they be at a studio full of blues legends playing tribute to Muddy Waters, or 350,000 fans in Times Square celebrating the NFL kickoff season with Bon Jovi, Enrique Iglesias, and Alicia Keys, or Mick Jagger and Buddy Guy closing the show in the East Room of the White House with special guest President Barack Obama singing Sweet Home Chicago. All of these moments, and so many more, have come to be known as Ken Ehrlich moments, and they're the most admired and most imitated segments of live event television. Among Ken's many achievements and innovations in music television are the creation of the MTV Movie Awards and the VH1 Divas shows, which changed the face of music and led to the rise of female artists in popular music. In 2014, Ken achieved a remarkable hat trick, producing the 56th Grammy Award show and then moving next door to the LA Convention Center to bring Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and a room full of superstars together to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Beatles' appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show. Ken has been honored by the Producers Guild of America with its Visionary Award, and Billboard magazine has named him one of the Power 100 in the music industry. But beyond the all-star studded spectacles that Ken has created and produced over the years, he is most proud of the shows that he has done that have made a difference among those shows. Now, among those are an HBO special he did in 1988 that paid tribute to the contribution of our Vietnam vets. He then created an epic celebration about Nelson Mandela upon his release from prison. And next was the reopening of the New Orleans Superdome 1 year after Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans. And then a similarly themed 6-hour special aired only 3 weeks after Katrina from Madison Square Garden, which raised $10 million for the residents of that city. And a tribute to the people of New York City, and John Lennon presented 2 weeks after 9/11. Ken has always been available when called upon to contribute his creativity as well as his staff in support of charitable causes. He has produced events for Katie Couric's Colon Cancer Organization and produced several more for Los Angeles' Entertainment Industry Foundation, for the Grammy Museum, several City of Hope Award dinners, and a series of fundraising concerts in support of the fight against breast cancer. So please help me welcome to the stage now our honoree, Ken Ehrlich. So Ken, if you'll stand right over here and just wave to the crowd. So this is one event you're not producing, we're producing it today. So we've got a few guest speakers who are here who would like to say a few words in your honor. Now our first speaker today is the man Bob Dylan declared America's greatest living poet, who penned the soundtrack to our lives, co-writing such classics as Tears of a Clown, Oh Baby Baby, The Tracks of My Tears, My Girl, The Way You Do the Things You Do, and literally thousands more. Please welcome Walk of Famer Smokey Robinson to the stage.
Well, it is my absolute pleasure to be here today to honor my brother. This man is my brother. We've known each other forever and ever, and you know him as a great television and event producer, but I know him as a man and as my brother. He's just a wonderful person, and I am so honored to even be asked to be here today to celebrate his star on Hollywood Boulevard, which is very, very deserved. He should have had it a long time ago. But since he's getting it today, I'm very happy to be here to join the celebration. And I also have a message here from somebody that I want to read. We send greetings to all those gathered to honor Ken Ehrlich. Over the course of his career, Ken has produced countless concerts and events, shows that give voice to the struggles and successes of the American people, unveil common truths about our experience, and capture the resilience of our spirit. Ken has also helped put together some of our favorite events at the White House. The In Performance at the White House series, From Rock and Roll to Soul, Ken has shown time and again that his ear for talent leads to an unparalleled experience for viewers across our country and around the world. Ken, as you receive this special recognition, we hope you take pride in all you've accomplished. We wish you and everyone celebrating with you the very best. President and Michelle Obama. So you see the kind of company he keeps. And like I said, once again, I'm very happy to be here. God bless you, my brother, and you deserve this. And when we play, I want 5 strokes on the front and 3 on the back.
That ain't gonna happen. Thank you, Smokey. Let me acknowledge a couple of people with us. We have the chair of the Walk of Fame Committee, Maureen Schultz of Capitol Records. Please wave. And also, representing the chamber, we have our senior vice chair, Beth Marlis of the Musicians Institute. And in case you're not familiar with the Musicians Institute, they are training 1,200 students to become future musicians and future Walk of Famers. So, our next speaker today is a multi-talented entertainer who has found great success crossing into multiple mediums. A 2-time Grammy Award winner, recording artist, talented actor, author, NAACP Image Award winner, entrepreneur, and philanthropist, he continues to display his wide range of talents with every project, currently starring on the hit TV show NCIS Los Angeles and hosting the Grammy Awards for the 4th time on CBS. Please welcome LL Cool J.
Absolutely. Be kind. Okay. How's everybody doing? It's good to hear. I think I'd like to start off by using a term that I'm sure no one ever expected a guy like me from Queens to use, and that is mensch. But this guy is a mensch. Say it with me, mensch. He's a really, really great guy to work with. And, you know, Ken basically mentored and held my hand and walked me into the world of hosting. You know, a lot of people have, in recent years, been coming up to me saying, LL, you're a good host, you've been doing a good job, and I have to give Ken the credit for putting me in that position and also teaching me how to do the job right. You know, he has been like a big brother to me, and truly a great role model. I saw him upon the, may she rest in peace, untimely passing of Whitney Houston. I saw Ken completely reconfigure and turn a battleship around like it was a Porsche doing donuts in a parking lot. I mean, this guy, the way he reconfigured the show, put performances together, worked with David Wild, worked with the rest of the organization to turn that thing around and really quarterback that show, to me, was a testament to his character, his intestinal fortitude, and his integrity. And then him allowing me to go out there and say a prayer without trying to tell anyone what religion they should be, not trying to force God on anyone, not trying to do any of those things, but just giving me the freedom to as a human being, to express that, my feelings in the way that best would help me to get through the show. I think that's a testament to his tolerance, his willingness to have an open mind, and, you know, his belief in the power of love. In addition to that, you know, he loves music. I have never met, I've never met a short white Jewish guy that knew so much about music. You know what I mean? Like, I've never in my life. I mean, this guy, he knows more soul riffs than me. Like, he can walk me in circles with the soul music. He's talking to me about records. I'm nodding, I'm pretending I know what he's talking about. I don't. I'm Googling my phone. I'm in my phone. I'm Googling, trying to figure out the song he's talking about. But you know what? You're just a class act. You're a special guy. His wife, Harriet, him, you know, your family, just everything you've done for me in my career and where I've been, the way I've been able to grow over these recent years has been in a large part due to your faith in me and your confidence in me, allowing me to co-produce, if you want to call it that, on our nomination shows and the Christmas specials. And there's been 10 different Grammy programs that we've worked together on, approximately. And I really do appreciate you sincerely from the heart. And I think this guy absolutely deserves this star. Thank you very much.
Well, our next speaker is a critically acclaimed, multi-award-winning, platinum-selling singer-songwriter. His work has garnered him 9 Grammy Awards, 3 Soul Train Awards, the BET Award for Best New Artist, and the Special Starlight Award from the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Most recently, he won his first Golden Globe Award and won the 2015 Critics' Choice Award for his song Glory, in partnership with Common, that was featured in the film Selma. Glory is also nominated for the 2050 Academy Award. He is also nominated for 2 2050 Grammy Awards for his song All of Me. Please welcome John Legend.
Thank you. I want to thank my friend Ken Ehrlich for inviting me here today, and thank all of you for coming to honor this wonderful, wonderful man. I first met Ken back in 2004. I had just put out my first album, Get Lifted, and I wasn't nominated for any awards yet. The album had just come out a few months before that. But I was performing with Kanye and with Mavis Staples. We were doing Jesus Walks on the 2004 Grammys, and I just remember from the very first time that I met Ken, how much he really loves music, how much he's passionate about making a great show, and giving the people really special events every time he puts something together. And I've experienced that over the last 10 years. Every time we do an event together, he's always creative, always passionate, always shows his love for music and his love for artists. And he has a tough job, folks. He gets to do what he loves, but he also has to deal with egotistical artists, their managers, Everybody's trying to get on the show. Everybody's trying to do what they want to do. Everybody wants to present it the way they want to present it. And he has to deal with all of these egos in this business and put on a great show. And so I'm always in awe of his patience and his ability to wade through all of that and put on something that's spectacular and effortless by the time it comes out. So I want to recognize him for that, but also I want to thank him especially for something he did for me last year. I put out a song called All of Me. Everybody knows it now, but a lot of you didn't know the song last year when I performed it on the Grammys. It was in the top 60 on iTunes at the time, and Kim really believed in the song and thought it deserved a moment to shine at the Grammys. And after I performed the song, it was in the top 5 on the iTunes for the next several weeks and became my first #1 on the Hot 100. And that would not have happened without Ken Ehrlich's vision, without him believing in me. It just shows the kind of producer he is, somebody with vision, somebody with creativity, somebody willing to take a risk on a song that he believes that people need to hear. And that's why he's been so successful, and that's why I'm glad to be here to honor him today. Thank you, Ken.
Let me acknowledge a few other guests who are with us here today, and as I introduce you, if you'd please wave to the crowd, we'd appreciate it. We have with us today Walk of Famer Jimmy Jam Harris, Walk of Famer Verdine White of Earth, Wind and Fire, Walk of Famer Shotgun Tom Kelly, Entertainer Don Was, U2's The Edge, and Neil Portnow, President of the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. Welcome. Now our next speaker is a man who needs no introduction. Please welcome the one and only Walk of Famer, Stevie Wonder.
This is not just a day to remember, but a day, a moment in time to remember, because we are celebrating on this day a man who deserves to be celebrated and to be honored as he is being today. I've had the pleasure of knowing Ken for most of my life, and that's just a little time. But I have so many things that I could say. I just want to say, Ken, first of all, congratulations. I remember our working on the special after the day that we all worked so hard for and believed was going to become a reality. We're able to put on a celebration of the King National Holiday. So I thank you for that. I thank you for just putting up with me when I got to the Grammys one time, like just a little too late. And we were opening the show, and I remember that so very well because I just called to see all of you was up for best performance by best pop performance, and I didn't win that, and I said, oh, okay. But then it was up for song, and I didn't win that, and I don't know why I didn't win that, but I didn't win that. But most importantly, when I said to Ken, well, I thought that they would win that, and he said, you know what? You know, it didn't. Don't feel bad about it. But I said, I really don't, because the song that did win was one of my favorite songs of the year, and that was What's Love Got to Do with It. But he said, you're going to get something. I'm telling you, I know you are. And then when I surprisingly was nominated for the best song for a picture, and it won. I was like, oh my God, how did Ken know? I am so very honored for you, and I'm so very happy that we are friends, and that's for a lifetime, and it will never change. I'm so very happy that you have committed yourself to making sure that the various streams that we've had, such as making television more accessible to people with disabilities, has become a reality, as you will be seeing on the special that you will be a part of and putting together. So I just thank you for that. I thank all of you for knowing and feeling the spirit of a great man. I don't know if he can riff, but he sure can. He does know what those riffs are. He's right. Congratulations, kid.
Thank you, Stevie Wonder. Let me acknowledge another Walk of Famer who has just joined us, Herbie Hancock. Welcome. Now, Ken, the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce administers the Walk of Fame on behalf of the City of Los Angeles. This really is a public sidewalk. And the City Council has approved a beautiful resolution recognizing your accomplishments to Los Angeles in the entertainment industry, which I am pleased to present to you on behalf of the city. So Ken, it's time to hear from you finally, but let me just say in memory of our great late honorary mayor Johnny Grant, we hereby declare this Ken Ehrlich Day in Hollywood.
It's double-spaced and it's large print, just so you're not afraid. First of all, I want to thank my promising opening acts, Stevie, John, and LL. The collective history that we have together and have shared all these years would fill a book, but no one would want to read it, or people wouldn't want to read the one that I would write. Remember their names. They're all going to do very well in this business in the future. And look for the comedy stylings of our host today, because he'll be doing the warm-up for LL on the Grammys next week. The sad thing is that if I were producing this event, we'd be running even longer now, but we would have built toward a much bigger headliner, or at least a much taller one. Thank you for pointing that out. I think all three of them did that for me. Thank you. Seriously, I want to thank these musical giants for being here today so that I can lower the microphone. Wait a minute. And I also want to thank my friends who participated in that variety special section. I don't know, someone told me that just before we got here that it's the biggest section they've ever had for this, so that's really nice, and that's all because so many of you. And before I go on, I do want to thank Maureen O'Connor, who has held my hand through countless days of anxiety about getting up in front of speaking. I can do 14,000 people okay. Not too good with under 300. Now, when I was a kid, so now we get to the other stuff. When I was a kid and records were black vinyl with either big holes in the middle or they came in 1 foot square packaging, I used to scour the bins of record stores for anything and everything. Then when I was 15, I got a job working at the first top 40 radio station in Cleveland, WHK. And I did sports reports on the weekends, and I really took the job, paid $1.50 an hour, but they left the record library open over the weekend, and I would go in, and they had two piles. They had a pile that said, take me, and they had a pile that said, don't take me, and I just took the ones that said, don't take me, because those were the records I wanted. And that's how I fell in love with music. I loved it before that. But I used to marvel at the pictures on the front of the albums, and I would read every word of the liner notes, we used to call them, when records were big and you could read them and had liner notes. And more often than not, those records had a line drawing of this building on them. And I dreamt about what happened in this building for people like Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, the Kingston Trio, Les Paul and Mary Ford, the Beach Boys, the Beatles, Stan Kenton, Tennessee Ernie Ford, the four freshmen, Peggy Lee, Nelson Riddle, the band, and so many more. They all were in this building. So you can imagine the thrill that I felt shortly after I moved to Los Angeles and I was able to walk into Capitol A and my first TV show pre-record with musicians like Clark Terry and Bob Brookmeyer and Shelley Mann, whose names I have been reading on the back of these albums all my life, and there they were sitting across the glass from me, and I probably embarrassed myself and them as I went up and I introduced myself to every one of them. And then I recognized those slatted walls from seeing corners of them in the black and white photos that were taken in that studio. So when the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce invited me to join this group of Hollywood legends, all I really could think about was the possibility that I might be allowed to plant myself for all time in front of this building, and here I am. And it's not even a Jewish star, so my mother would have had mixed feelings. But that's okay, because I hear they charge more for these. Seriously, thank you, David Wild. Seriously, even though this honor falls into the television category, for which I'm grateful, all of you who know me know that music is such a big part of my life. That to be steps away from Natalie Cole and the Beatles and Neil Diamond, Bonnie Raitt, and so many others with whom I've worked is the real gift I'm getting today. There's not time enough to thank the hundreds of artists with whom I've been privileged to work, or the similar number of amazing colleagues and production people who have made me look good, just as we've tried to do the same for the artists who keep coming back. But I do have to single out a few, in particular my long and trusted sidekick, Ron Basile. My long-suffering script supervisor and victim, Paige Hadley. Our talent producer of 14 years, he says, but it seems so much longer than that. Chantal Saucedo. My long-suffering editors, Bowie Kober and David Foster at Kober Post, who are amazing and who nobody knows how to cut music the way they do. A writer extraordinaire and bon vivant, David Weil. And a man who I worked with probably 30-some years ago, and then we didn't see each other for a little while, but he came back 4 years ago to direct the Grammys and has done an amazing job, and that's Lou Horvitz. I also want to thank Jack Sussman, Nina Tassler, Leslie Moonves, and everyone at CBS. This is a relationship that's built on trust and faith, and we deliver for each other, and it's just, you are just such a pleasure to work with. And the same thing goes for everyone at the Recording Academy, in particular Neil Portnow, who for 14 years now has been a confidant, and you know, they call Jack and Neil and I a triumvirate, but there are really a lot more people that make that up. But the truth of the matter is we all share a common vision for what we put on the air every year, and it's a wonderful thing. And a very special mention of my partner on the show for 30 of my 35 years, who taught me how to insult people and still have them love you, Walter Miller. I can't tell you some of the places that Walter and I have been in that all I wanted to do was crawl under the table and get out alive. Most of all, my wife Harriet, my kids Matt and Lynn, Dory and Luke, and our granddaughter Jane, who I promise you already knows the lyrics to Yellow Submarine and at least 10 other Beatles songs, and Beautiful Day. I added that for you. Okay. Harriet, we've been through an awful lot together, but I wouldn't have wanted to share this journey with its ups and downs with anyone else but you. And how about that message from the President and First Lady? Wait a second, I'm starting to sound like Bob Hope. Stop me. That's a good joke. God, there's so much more I have to say, but the one thing I've learned from 40 years of producing television is when to get off the stage, and I know now is the time. I didn't think I'd be moved by this, but then again, I really never thought something like this would happen. And my only regret is that my parents Art and Lucille aren't here to share this moment with us. They would have loved it. To all of you who braved the elements to be here today, thank you. And to the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, to Anna Martinez, who does these things like they're just having banana cream pudding for lunch. Thank you so much. And Maureen Schultz, who, when I first came over here, I know it's late, but I'm going to say one quick thing. I had a meeting with Steve Barnett several months ago and Greg Thompson. And it was shortly after I learned about this and what it was to be. And I just knew I wanted to be here. And for whatever reason, Steve arrived. He came in the front door and I was coming in the back. And he said, let's go to the office. I said, no, I got to show you something. And I walked out here and I pointed there. And he said, he didn't know. He said, what's that? I said, that's where I want to be. And he just said, no problem. And we went upstairs and sat with Greg, and then called Maureen and I walked down here and looked around, and that was it. And it was just like, wait a minute, things like that don't happen like that, and I'm just so grateful. And I want to thank both Steve and Greg and Maureen as well. And another Maureen, as I think I said before, Maureen O'Connor was really instrumental in all of this, and a couple of times I said no, and she just said, no, you got to do this. So I'm very grateful, and I'm very grateful to Capitol for hosting this reception today. To quote a pretty good boy singer named Frank, who recorded about 50 yards from this spot, you make me feel so young. So thank you all very much.
All right, shall we unveil the star?
So that movie came out in 20. That's awesome. I love that. No,
Tell Bono to get better. Earth, Wind, and Fire opened me up to a lot of stuff, man. Thank you.
Exactly. Some stuff, all right? No. You did already? Oh, you passed. Okay, great. Okay, I don't have to go to summer studio.
You're welcome.
You want to shoot it? Shoot it now. Can you shoot it? You want to shoot it? Yeah. Can you shoot it? Oh, yeah.
Okay, have a great one. There's a nice guy.